Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Well, if you're in London or around the London area, you should know that in Leicester Square, they're putting up the Christmas markets, and that'll be opening on Wednesday. They do that every year. It's a beautiful thing. It's like a little Bavarian market, at least it was last year, I think, with little German huts where they sell you souvenirs and things. They usually have one down at St. James's Church in Piccadilly. There's always a lovely Christmas market outside there as well. So plenty of things for you to think about. If you're not in London, well, perhaps your country doesn't celebrate Christmas so much, but I can tell you that the build-up has already started here, and that doesn't really feel so nice. It's a bit early for me. Anyway, moving on, we want to talk today about the vowel sounds. Now, as I always tell you, to get the perfect vowel sound, it's important to pull your chin down. So, in many cultures across the world, letters like I and E are made by pulling your mouth horizontally, like a smile almost. But in the UK, that really doesn't work, because we pull our mouth down. Why do you think we always look so unhappy? I mean, we do look completely miserable, don't we? We never seem to be smiling. But it's because we pull our mouth down rather than to the left or right. That takes a bit of practice. The next time you're watching a native speaker, just notice how his mouth moves. Depending on how excited he is, you might not notice much movement, but generally the top lip is stiff and we speak only with the bottom part, pulling it down. And this corrects our sounds, because in countries like Italy, Spain, and across the Mediterranean, that I sound becomes E. So, for example, I would say cinema, and someone else across Europe might say cinema. So it's these kind of things that you have to be careful of, because they can change the meaning of a word. If you think of ship, which is a boat that goes to sea, and sheep, which is longer and it involves me pulling my bottom lip from left to right, then you get a perfect pronunciation of ship and sheep. You probably can't hear any difference on a podcast, but there is a difference, trust me on that. One is an E and the other is the double E. So ship is the boat and sheep is the animal. So it's the same with things like exactly, or eggs. To get the perfect sound, you need to be pulling your mouth down. So something to practice with. Top lip stiff, bottom lip down. My name is Bond, James Bond. So you can see where that accent comes from, that kind of received pronunciation. Well, making the news today, all across the front pages of our newspapers, is our immigration crisis. We're having many migrants coming to the UK, and the government is trying to stop the flow because things are getting a little bit busy with migrants. We have a migrant centre down in Kent, and there's been some problems there. Apparently it's overcrowded, it's not sanitary, And last night at one of our deportation centres, there was a power blackout, and so they started a riot. So there's all kinds of things going on. There's been little flare-ups of problems in these last few days. That's making the headlines of our newspapers. Other things in the news today is the mysterious disappearance of a famous footballer. He went to Barcelona for his holidays. He was in the Irish pub, which is in the town centre, and he's been missing now for 9 days. I can't remember his first name, but his second name was certainly Davis. Oh yes, Levi Davis. So he apparently went to Barcelona his holidays and has disappeared. Although I think, I'm not sure, but one of the reports I read suggested that perhaps he had some personal problems. So I hope he's okay. Other things in the news today from around the UK. Well, 100 years ago today, the Symphony of Sirens revolutionized the way we compose, perform, and experience music. The visionary composer, forgotten for decades, was named Arseny Avramov. Sorry to any Russians out there, I probably just massacred his name. Arseny Avramov, feel free to correct me if you can say it better than I can. So 100 years ago today, he was 36 years old, and he climbed onto a specially built tower in Baku, Azerbaijan, which was then part of the USSR. He looked at the urban landscape before him. He lifted 2 red flags and started to wave them. What happened next was one of the most extraordinary musical events of the 20th century, one which until recently remained almost forgotten. And that event was the Symphony of Sirens, a musical work incorporating the city of Baku as its orchestra. And it was staged on the 7th of November 1922 to celebrate the 5-year anniversary of the October Revolution. Oh, very nice. Other things in the UK news today. After Bonfire Night, which, as you know, was on Saturday, unfortunately, many of our young people started throwing fireworks at police. And in some of our more impoverished areas across the UK, particularly in Yorkshire and also in Scotland, there were clashes with police officers. I'm not surprised about that. I mean, the way things are at the moment, there's a lot of anger at the government. I think probably just because of the prices rising, the changes in our political system with 3 new prime ministers in the last while. Well, it's actually 2 new ones and one who was there for quite some time. So there's quite a lot of unrest going on. That's also making headline news, and I'm a bit concerned about that because I don't see that getting better. I can see that getting worse. So let's hope things die down there. Things get quieter. To die down is to make something quieter. There's also rail strikes which have been called off. But again, if you're around the UK today, don't expect there to be good train services because the trains are all in the wrong places. So they're warning it will be a few days until things are back to normal. The nurses are now saying they're going to strike for more pay. The physiotherapists are saying they also will be going on strike for more pay. The post office is already on strike, and the Scottish government has warned it has no more money to give to councils at the moment because of the way everything is. So it looks like a bit of a tight squeeze. So yeah, I think there's going to be more problems in coming months. I don't think this is going to get better, but well, let's hope there's some good news in amongst some of the other headlines. Oh yeah, Aaron Carter died. Isn't that sad? Was he in the Backstreet Boys? I think it was his brother was in the Backstreet Boys. So yeah, that's another thing. Um, yeah, also big issues over climate change. I think our Prime Minister's due to give a speech on that. What's this one? Um, Parrot steals reporter's earphone live on air. Wow, it seems to be a mixture of news which is mostly negative and amusing. It's a pity they can't find any positive stories in there, but anyway, that's it from me. Have a good day.